There have been a few recent and quite significant developments to the Melbourne Airport Rail Link project. For context, a few months back, the federal government put it and many other infrastructure projects around Australia under review, as they aim to scale back spending. If you haven't seen it already, I did a whole video about the Melbourne Airport Rail Link project, where I talked about the issues faced by the project, including it being placed under review. I'll link to that on screen and in the description if you're interested. But the big breaking news, and the reason for this video, is that the review has finally been released, although it did take significantly longer than the 90 days that were originally promised. So what has the review recommended? Well, 82 projects have received the axe, including 12 from Victoria, such as the project to build fast rail to Geelong, in another line item to be added to Australia's very long list of failed attempts to build fast rail. But I'm getting a little bit off track. The point is, the Melbourne Airport Rail Link is safe. At least for now. The project has passed the review, with the federal government maintaining its $5 billion commitment to delivering it. Personally, I'm thrilled at this news. In the previous video I made on the topic, I made note of how important I think this project is, as well as how ridiculous it is that in 2023 Melbourne still doesn't have an airport rail link, while cities with less than half its population, like Perth and Brisbane, do. So I'm glad this attempt to build one hasn't been added to the already quite large pile of other failed attempts to build an airport train. At least not yet. Now what do I mean by that? Well, the project isn't completely in the clear just yet. Victorian State Premier Jacinta Allen has said that the project's timeline remains uncertain, with its current planned delivery date of 2029 up in the air. This is mainly because of difficult negotiations with Melbourne Airport itself. These negotiations have been going on for 3 years now, and there doesn't seem to be much of a resolution in sight. From what I can see, the main issue they can't decide on is whether to build a new airport train station as an elevated station, like the airport station in Brisbane, or an underground one, like the stations in Perth and Sydney. The state government prefers the more cost-effective elevated approach, while the airport prefers the underground approach. Personally, I prefer the above-ground option, as it would help contain costs on this already very expensive project, and because the usual reasons for building a line underground, typically because it would require the demolition of significant housing or other developments, isn't really there. Around the airport terminals there's mostly just roads and parking that an elevated line could easily run over. Usually in these kinds of situations, the state government has the ability to use its planning powers to get its way, but the airport is technically on Commonwealth land, so those planning powers lie with the federal government instead. Premier Jacinta Allen has requested that the federal government step in to help resolve the matter, but there's little information about whether they will, or how long that will take. The Premier has noted that the longer it takes to finalise the project design, the more the project risks delays and budget blowouts, so let's hope it's resolved quickly. But given the design of the project is not finalised, I would like to reiterate what I said in my previous airport rail video, which is that I believe there could be a few more stations along the line. Given large parts of Melbourne do not have direct rail access, and given the housing affordability crisis affecting the city, I think adding a few more stations along the line and associating these new stations with transit-oriented developments could add further justification to the project by connecting whole new communities to Melbourne's rail network. Selling land for development around the new stations can also help fund the project, while giving Melbourne's housing supply a much needed boost. Overall, I'm glad to see the project has survived the review. The airport rail link will be a much needed addition to Melbourne's public transport network. Now the government and all else involved need to just get on with its construction. Well, this was a short one, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Also, if you haven't seen my other video on Melbourne's airport train, you should definitely check that out. There'll be a link to it in the description. As always, I'm City Moose, and thanks for watching.